The first car ever sold in the US without a rear window. What we're looking at here is not some limited run supercar or an obscure concept that's never going to see the light of day. This is a full-scale production car hitting the streets in the US in 2024. And you heard me right at the intro, there is no rear window, none whatsoever. And in this video, we're going to explain why, maybe see if the reasoning makes sense or if it's a little bit out there, and then explore whether or not the Polestar 4 went the right direction with this no rear window design, because they're incorporating this into some of their future models as well, and we may even see it make its way into other manufacturers. Now, of course, this isn't the first car ever to not have a rear window. A lot of box vans and commercial vehicles sold in the US are the same way, but in a luxury crossover SUV, this is pretty much a first. Now, let's see what that means in terms of the storage area and the cargo capacity. Now, as we lift up the rear gate and we look on the underside, you might notice, in fact, there is no glass, no opaque panel whatsoever. We have instead this felt material with the Polestar logo incorporated there, but truly, there's no rear window whatsoever. There's no rear window even up here on that roof portion. It's all completely blacked out. Now, this is something a little bit unique. We have this little panel which folds down and up, and now we can secure the cargo area completely away from the passenger cell. This is a good advantage. You know, a lot of big cities around the US are dealing with some pretty major smash and grab theft where folks are breaking rear windows or quarter windows to try to gain access to the trunk. You close that panel up and there is no way to see what is in the trunk of this vehicle. Of course, you could still break a window, but there's no visual entrance or intrusion whatsoever. Now, apart from that, this is kind of a dark black pit in here. It's a large, good-sized trunk with some additional storage underneath the floor. This is an early pre-production car, which is why you see that down there, but it's a good-sized trunk. And keep in mind, this is a new luxury, fully electric crossover SUV that is hitting the market in 2024, starting in the $60,000 range. And let me explain to you why they went with this crazy, unique design. So Polestar says that you need rollover protection in the roof. Okay, that's probably not news to a lot of you, but typically in a lot of cars, the rollover bar is going to be right about here, right over the rear passenger's head. Well, Polestar said, hang on, especially in these new coupe SUVs that dramatically cut down on headroom, this is not a good thing because it means taller folks can't get into the back seat. So why don't we take the bar that's typically here and move it further back, giving the space above the rear passenger's head some more room? And that's exactly what they've done. And then they said, well, wait, if we do that, your rear view visibility is going to be tiny, right? Let me fold this down. It's going to be that little slit. And especially with the headrest back there, the front driver, right, they're not going to see anything out the traditional rearview mirror. So why are we dealing with a rear window whatsoever? Now, let's see if their experiment has paid off. So I am 6 feet tall. And in a lot of these low-slung EVs, I have a hard time with headroom. You know, the headroom is, it's still a little compromised, actually. I'm still hitting this rear crash structure. Now, if I fold down this little armrest here, like that, we can recline the seat up. See, that's coming forward. And now I do have more headroom. So with it reclined upwards, I do have enough space. With it folded back, not so much. So yeah, it's an interesting theory. I'm not entirely convinced that that has paid off to the extent that they wanted to. I mean, I prefer a roofline more like that Polestar 3, where it just continues like a traditional SUV and then makes its way down in the rear. But you know, these coupe-like vehicles are all the rage now, and that's why they've done this. Now, see this is interesting. You've got this panel here that kind of looks like, well, is the rear window supposed to go there? No. And I talked to the chief engineer, what is this for? Why do they do this? The majority of this rear hatch is actually a composite material, but they needed some more structural rigidity in this concave section. So this is actually a metal panel. It's for rigidity. It's not, in some markets you get the rear window, in other markets you don't. All Polestar 4s are coming out of the factory like this, but that's what that's for. It's for rigidity. So there you go, no rear window in the Polestar 4, or that Polestar 5 coming up here shortly. You can check that out over at alltfl.com. But I'd love to know your opinion. Is this the right direction for manufacturers to be moving in? Now let's keep talking about this car because this is a really interesting design and it's coming next year, 2024. The Polestar 4 features a two-motor setup or a single-motor setup depending on configuration. So you have 272 horsepower with the base configuration, or 544 if you get the high-end sporty model like we see here. So a lot of power, right? Compared to what Tesla's doing with the Model Y performance, it's probably pretty comparable in terms of horsepower and straight line performance. Now Polestar really is emphasizing the chassis, the dynamics, the driving experience, saying it's a really impressive car. And from a safety standpoint and a level 2 autonomy standpoint, they've also gone a little crazy with the cameras. Total of 12 cameras around the exterior of the car. You can see other cameras here located on the front quarter panel. They partnered with a company called Mobileye to work with the autonomous technology in this car, but you can see them in the nose there. You can see 3 integrated into the windshield. So they've really gone nuts with the camera tech. And then we do have a radar sensor as well in the lower fascia. So they haven't gone full camera like Tesla has, but they're certainly embracing that technology. And I do like this illuminated Polestar badge quite a bit. Now this interior is very premium. Look at our friend from Mach-E Vlogs. Hey dude, you want to go on camera?
Sure.
Can I get your impression of the Polestar 4? What are your first opinions?
I really like it because it's SUV style, but it's lower, sort of like that coupe, as they're calling it, an SUV coupe. So we just went for a ride in it, and it feels very nice. The adaptive suspension feels very good. Sporty riding and driving position. Excellent, like premium features such as the massaging seats. I don't know, it just feels very good. Still questioning the lack of a rear window, but I asked the driver, he said he got used to it like on lap 2. So I think it's something I would get used to because there's so many good things about this SUV.
So you are one of the leading YouTubers in the EV space. You're well known for your Mach-E content. Now the shape factor of this car is pretty similar to your Ford Mustang Mach-E. How do you think the room and the space in the back compares? Is the lack of the rear window worth it?
Let's see. So, I think the leg room is about the same. It feels like my legs are a little bit higher, but it feels like it's about the same amount of space. I haven't looked in the rear hatch to see how much space we're losing. But it's still, it's just an odd thing. Like, as a passenger, I still want to look back and see what's out the rear window. So I don't know. I don't know if it's worth giving up. I know the reasons that they gave. It adds a lot of rigidity. So I could see the advantages of that. But it is a bit odd. Just something that's new for news sake, or is it really that necessary when nobody else is doing that?
Well, I really appreciate your stuff.
Yeah.
If folks want to follow you, where can they go?
Mach-E Vlog, that's our primary YouTube channel. We also do website and stuff like that. But yeah, just follow us on there. We're on X and Threads and all that other good stuff as well.
Sweet, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your input. Yeah. Now let's check out the front seat of the Polestar 4 because there's some really nice stuff to talk about in here, closing up the door. Now they've really embraced the reusable, sustainable material motive in here. So instead of having like a traditional leather, we have instead this recycled plastic, basically polyester sort of interior. Feels really nice actually. I really like kind of this integrated pattern. And then we have like a vinyl on the headrest and down the sides, and this is an integrated headrest as a bucket seat, very comfortable and much different than other Polestars currently available. Now as we take a look at the dash design, of course, as is the trend with all new modern cars, the center of the dash is dominated by this 15.4-inch display that is running the latest and greatest in Google operating system, and everything is integrated into this except for we've got one little knob down here, play, pause, and then a volume knob. But apart from that, everything else is all integrated with Google into this this main screen here. Pretty easy to use. We do have Apple CarPlay as we see there, which is really, really nice. Let's see what camera looks like. This is a really early pre-production, so some of the features may not be fully up to snuff as we're seeing here. Now, one thing which not a huge fan of is the lack of manual air vent control. So just like Tesla on the Model 3, to change the vent controls, you drag around on this screen to move the airflow. Don't love that all that much, just a little bit complicated. But as we look at the main driver view here, nice steering wheel, got this little chrome ring around the center line, which is quite good. Flat bottom steering wheel, and then we have a 10-inch screen or thereabouts there in front of the driver, and you can see some of the more level 2 assistance technologies. But I love that compared to the Tesla, you do have an actual screen here, like the Mustang Mach-E, actually, where you can see your speed, your battery percentage, your range, all that integrated there. Across the middle, 2 cup holders, floating console, great place to store a handbag if you have it. And then under here, good sized center bin. You can see 2 USB-C ports there. Room is very good in the front, and headroom is very good in the front, so unlike the rear seat. Lots and lots and lots of headroom. And then this is actually where they're incorporating the camera. It's kind of interesting. It still has a mirror when the car is off, but that's where they're putting that. And then steering wheel buttons as well there in the middle. And I do like this design, the ambient lighting, which has been kind of sculpted into these door panels. We have a 12 speaker audio system by Bowers, Harman Kardon here, excuse me, and then 4 window controls, unlike the Polestar 3, which is using the 2 window controls. And let's see if we can take a peek into the cargo area. I'm going to go ahead and pull that front trunk release twice, and we're going to lift it open and see what it looks like. Now, this is what I call more of a front cubby or a frubby. So not nearly as big as some of the Tesla products, but you can kind of see you have a little space there, place to fill up your windshield washer fluid. Yeah, I mean, a lot of black plastic, but this is not supposed to be a premium area of the car. It's just an extra storage space. Now, range, Polestar says they are targeting right around 300 miles. I think it's got like 100 plus kilowatt hour battery, somewhere in that territory. So large battery vehicle, large wheels too, 265/40 R22s in the front, and out back we're looking at 265/40 R22s as well. Big size wheel design, but like the design, very competitive class, Mercedes, Audi, all getting into this world. And out back, no rear window. Hey Miriam, you want to be on camera? You can eat your donut, yeah. So this is my buddy Miriam, and Miriam, who are you with?
I'm mostly with Tech Radar for my car coverage, but my podcast is the big thing, mobiletechpodcast.com. Check it out.
So what do you think of the no rear window in the Polestar 4?
I think it's okay.
No,
I'm not as mad as I'm about other things. But look, I think it's kind of not ideal, but I can live with it.
Okay, so not your first choice, but you're okay with
Definitely
it.
not my first choice, but I'm okay with it.
All right. Well, thank you for your feedback, and check out the podcast. It's awesome. I got to go get myself a donut.
Good.
That thing looks great. All right, guys, well, we're going to close it up here. It's your first look at the all-new Polestar 4. As always, it's been Tommy. Check out alltfl.com. Would love to hear your feedback. Thank you so much for watching.